Mocha family. I have been gone for such a long time that I'm a little rusty, but I wanted to come on here because I've noticed a lot of activity on my channel. There's my daughter standing at the door. The minute I start recording a video, I'm the most popular person in the house, but I told her to just shoo so I could do this video. But I noticed that I've been getting a lot of activity on my channel looking at my curriculum review videos, and it makes sense since it's the beginning of the year. People are trying to see what is the best thing to use, and so this year I am using Abeka video grade 4 with my youngest, Rayma, also known as Ms. Mocha Baby, who ain't no baby no more. So if you've been following me for a long time, you know that I have used Abeka video in the past with my older two daughters. One is going into the 11th grade and the other one is going into the 8th grade. I moved away from Abeka video because I wanted to do something more hands-on. That worked, and it didn't work for me with me being so busy. I feel like I missed having the structure of something solid in place that I could set into motion no matter what was going on, no matter where we are, as long as you have Wi-Fi or you have some kind of internet connection. You can set this situation in motion and then just jump in to support what's going on. So it's basically a video program where you have a digital teacher to assist you with teaching your child each subject. And the videos are recorded really well. They're actually recordings of lessons that are taking place in a classroom with other students, and the teacher also addresses your child as the digital student. So if she's going around the room asking everyone questions, there'll be a time where she'll ask your child to answer a question from home, and then that's where you come in as the parental support to make sure they answer the questions properly. So I really appreciated being able to sit them in front of the lessons, and I taught them to come to me if they ran into any problems with not understanding things. And so there are lots of quizzes, lots of worksheets that need to be filled out, and as the parent, you're responsible for filling out all of the worksheets. And this right here, not filling them out, but for grading all of the worksheets. This right here is kind of like the video instructor manual, which basically lays out your schedule, your plan for what's happening for each lesson, like exactly what your child is going to be seeing on the video, so that you can kind of have like a paper version of what's going on, so that you could have all the materials ready to go when your child needs to do it. So for my kids, I would sit them down in front of the lesson. Say if I sat them down to start at 8 o'clock in the morning, by lunchtime they would pretty much be done. But it really depends on your child and how focused they are and how on target they stay, how long it'll take them to do it. And so in years past, I have ordered the videos. I was able to get videos of the lectures on a schedule. I think it was like every several months or so you get another set of videos, but you don't get the new set until you return the old set. But now they also have a streaming option, which is all done digitally, so that you can follow a link and have access to the videos that way. That's what I did this time around. The only downfall to that is that if you're in a place where you don't have Wi-Fi, you can't access the lessons either. So I have a stack of books here to go through to show you what comes with the curriculum. I didn't bring out everything, but I brought out the main things. So I already talked about the video manual. For history, it's basically American history. It starts from the age of exploration and it ends, I think they're talking about Eisenhower and Kennedy toward the end of this one. And it's a very colorful book. I appreciated how colorful the books were and very easy to read and understand. I found my kids to easily be able to work through this independently. Now, my concern has always been to make sure that any kind of American history my kids get, they see themselves and they have a complete picture of their story, not just you were a slave and you just dropped out of nowhere until slavery. That's when we start talking about you. So I generally try to pepper that stuff in myself as we go along as needed. I have a lot of books and resources already in the house that I didn't bring out for this, but that's what I do to give a more complete picture. For science, many times I haven't necessarily used this curriculum for science because we've been doing other things, and it's been easy to combine science over multiple grades for me in the past. But this year I am following the science that comes with it, and this is Understanding God's World, which is basically general science. And sometimes there will be activities that I'll have to do outside of the video to support this, that I'll do with my child. Science is not my thing. It's probably science itself, the information I enjoy, but trying to work through science experiments has always been a struggle for me. But I noticed that these are pretty basic and simple, so I don't think I'll have any problems working with that. Language arts, God's gift of language. This is the program that is used all the way up through. When I taught English 7 at the umbrella school I mentioned before, I use Abeka curriculum. And so this is the first book in that series, and I think it's really good. Some people really hate the way the lessons are taught in here. They think it's pretty dry and maybe not detailed enough. If you don't get it the first time, there's no other way using this book to understand it. That's the criticism that I've heard for this. However, it's worked really well with my kids. You know, you really have to teach your kids that grammar, this is the grammar book, that grammar has a vocabulary in and of itself, and there are things that you just have to memorize so that you can understand the definitions. You have to build your grammar vocabulary so that the explanations make sense to you. And I think this book does a really good job of working them through the different things that they need to learn. I've also used Easy Grammar, which is not Abeka. That's another thing you can use for additional support, and also during the summer to keep these things fresh in their mind. But I really do like the grammar curriculum. There are a number of books that are linked to the history that there are reading assignments for. This one is Flags Unfurled, Liberty Tree, which has various selections from different authors in it, Trails to Explore. I'm not a huge fan of anthologies like this. I would prefer for my kids to read classic books and novels. And so this is another area where I will heavily supplement. I have a ridiculous library from using Sunlight curriculum of books that I will pepper in, especially since Ms. Mocha Baby is an avid reader. I can easily assign her more to read. And there's penmanship also. This is penmanship mastery. I know they don't teach penmanship anymore in the schools, but I think I want my kid to be able to sign their own name. And so I really love this because there's like a whole penmanship lesson where the teacher is standing there and telling them how to do their letters, and they get plenty of practice with this book. And I feel like I can turn my kid over to this and they magically know how to do cursive. And so yay for that. Part of the science year is the general science I showed you before. The other part is developing good health. And so again, lots of great pictures, very easy reading level to understand. And I think it's very engaging. So they'll be doing that. Here's a couple more books. Song of the Brook, Saved at Sea, and Salute to Courage. They could do better with the diversity of their reading selection, I think. But it is what it is, and I will be supplementing heavily. So that's basically the stack of books that I have for Abeka. I didn't bring out the geography, but I think the geography is really great. They end up memorizing all kinds of capitals, cities, knowing where everything is on the map. My kids are awesome at geography whereas I'm personally horrible at it, and I have a Abeka video to thank for that. So I plan to come back later on this year and actually bring Miss Mocha Baby on camera with me to let you know what she actually thinks. One problem that I've noticed with this program in the past is that my kids can kind of get bored of sitting and watching the actual classes with certain teachers. Like, I feel like some of the teachers, just like in real life, seem to be more engaging to my kids than others. And so that was a drawback in the past, but that's where I need to jump in and supplement and try to keep things interesting. But for a person who gets all revved up, ready to go in the beginning, and then halfway through kind of loses steam, goes off on rabbit trails, or things kind of lose the structure that you started with, like that's been the case with me in the past, I think this is a good foundation to have going, and then it's easy to build on that as opposed to something that's more loose that I have to make more structured, if that makes any sense. So while I'm trying to manage the lives of all my other kids, it feels good to know that I could set this in motion for my youngest and know that as long as I keep her on track, she's getting the basics of what she needs, and then it's easy for me to enrich that. So let me know if you have any questions. It is not a cheap option, but it's also not the most expensive option I've seen. So I will link Abeka for you guys in the description box below. Let me know in the comments what you think. Be blessed.